In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to open up a flat file, an image of the world map, and wrap it around a virtual globe in a mesh using Photoshop. So I'm on the week 3 exercise. There are directions somewhat that will be expanded, and I'm going to find in the preview to this assignment a link to an attached file that's called artsy1305. flatearth.jpg. I'm going to right click on top of the name of the file and tell it to save the file. Save this link, save link as, and I'm going to delete that one. It just means that I've used this before, but there's nothing there except my old banner. If I'm happy with the name of the file, I can just click save and it goes in. I'm going to open up Photoshop, and there it is, and let me go open up the file that I just downloaded. I am clicking the file menu. I don't know if you can see my menu up there. I click file and select the file I just saved. I saved it on this PSD files folder. It's in my desktop. By the way, I'm using a Macintosh computer. Your PC experience should be very similar. Just keep track where you save your files. Mine are usually on the desktop. I'll open up the file, and there it is. It's a map of the world. And I said open. I see the background layer. That's the only layer in this file. It's a Photoshop document. Well, to a certain degree, it's a JPEG file, but it does have this one background. That's the one layer, and we'll be working with this one. We'll be bringing in the banner that you're working on so far in a little bit, but first let's make a globe out of this. This is just flat. This is just the Earth as it was printed and laid out on a table. There's nothing to it. You could sail off either side. It doesn't quite go all the way around. I see that Alaska is kind of chopped off, and the USSR, or Russia as we call it now, doesn't go all the way, but that's fine. We'll forgive this old map. I'm going to make sure, however, I'm working in my Photoshop document as it was the last time that I opened Photoshop. Normally, I'm using the workspace in window menu, by the way. That's the essentials. That's got the basic tools that I need. I want to switch to 3D, though. I could have used some 3D files from the essentials. However, 3D is a little bit more complete. We'll switch back when we're done so that you don't forget. So there's window, 3D. I'm on the 3D. I have the same map. I'm looking for my layers, and there they are on the bottom right. Same thing, same background. There's a couple of other options for 3D. We won't necessarily be using these right now. In the layers, I see the background, the same picture. I'm going to navigate over to my 3D menu on top and tell it to select a new mesh from layer and select a mesh preset. Specifically, we want the sphere. So Photoshop, Adobe has already done all the math for us, and it's going to wrap this image around the mesh. Imagine a globe made of wires where you just lay down a poster and wrap it all the way around. That's what Photoshop is doing right here. Now that it's wrapped around, we have this mesh. We can see that the Earth is round, that the light is coming from our distance, at least the viewer's not distance, but rather point of view. On the upper left, we're going to see how it looks from the top. So this is how it represents a 3D image. You have what it looks like from the front and what it looks like from the top. You'll see that there is a bottom, that red and blue line. That's where the globe is floating on top of. This is a transparent image. I can tell by the checkerboard in the background. So I'm rolling. I'm doing fine. Now I want to be able to get this 3D image onto a 2D plane. I'm going to go to my file menu and tell it to open. I have them saved in the same folder. My banner, that's the banner that I worked on for another video before. Yours may be a different size. It's definitely going to look different if you've already been working on the additional tasks that you have to work on. So I have 3 layers. You may have more. I hope you have more. Basic graphic designs, the text that's in there. I have a stroke, that's this green line around the box, and the box itself is just the background color. I want to be on the very top layer, so whenever I put something on top of this, it'll be the very topmost layer. switch back onto my layer, or rather my tab on top, to see my Earth representation. My cursor, you'll notice it's over here in my top right of the document. It's changed from an arrow to something else. It looks like a planet with an orbit path of some sort. And what that means is that if I click, hold down my mouse button and drag to many sides, I can select, well, let's say, I live in Texas, so I want to see where Texas might be. And it's somewhere over here. It's in the Western Hemisphere. It's dark because the sun, or the light source, is on the wrong side. And let's see, if I click on it, I can select it, and I do believe I can get a controller of some sorts to get the light. There it is. There's the controller right there. And so the source of light, the infinite light, I can move it around, and now it's actually, I can shine it a little bit more on the Western Hemisphere. And so we're pretending that the sun, the source of light, is coming from over here so that we can see what's actually on that map. I'm not going to mess too much with it. The shadow, I can, on the background that's being selected there, I can change it a little bit. We'll leave it as such with the softness. The intensity is currently at 90%. I can make it brighter just to sort of shine it a little bit more, but we'll play with this later on in the course. Now that I have this globe made from the map, I want to move it to the other file, which is the banner. My banner is flat, and by that I mean it's just, there's no 3D elements. And I can't, however, just copy this whole thing and paste it on the other file because it's a 3D element. Taking that into mind, that this is a 3D element and I've spent a little bit of time on it, I'm going to save it so that I don't have to go through this whole rigmarole again. I'm going to File, Menu, and tell it to Save As, and I'll just specify that this is, rather than flat, it's a 3D Earth, and save it so that I can come back to it later. All of these things, the moving around, the 3D rotate, that'll be available to me. So to get this as a sort of a more of a flat file, what I can do is in my layers, find the background that I've been working with, right click, and I'll move this a little bit so that you can see it. I'll hide the properties, right click, and there is a render 3D layer which would do something similar to what we want, but it'll take some time and it's not quite there yet. So rasterize 3D, rasterize, it'll take this image, all the little pixels, and make a picture out of it. So I'll click on that. It's a very quick process. It's already done. So my new file, which is sort of a flat file, I say flat because once again it's just one layer background, but you'll see that it's still transparent. The checkerboard is still there. I'm going to select Menu and tell it to select all. Command A on this Mac, Control A on a PC. It saves it onto the clipboard. I can go to my banner. I'm on the topmost layer and edit, paste. Command V or Control V, you're pasting, and now I have this globe in its own layer, layer 1. I'll double click layer 1 and call it Earth. And using my move tool, I'll put it in place. I'll press Command T, Control T on your PC, and make it a little bit smaller. And kind of move it around. So this is now in my 2D file. I can copy, paste it, do whatever I want with it. I can treat it as a graphic. If I wanted to, I could have also right-clicked on the background and then tell it to make a duplicate copy. So right-click, duplicate layer, and I'll call this one Earth 2. Make sure that it goes to the other document, to my banner.psd. Click OK. And in my banner now I have 2 copies of the Earth. I'll press Command T, make this one smaller as well. And while this is not the be-all end-all of this assignment, I have now created a 3D sphere, converted it to a format that can be copied, and pasted it onto my graphic. Now keep in mind that this is just a sample. You don't have to use the Earth. You could do something else. You could find another image and do the same kind of effect. I'll leave that up to you.